Today's speaker. I didn't realize when I started emailing Rod Crider that we're just finishing the week of emphasis on economic development. And if you read the paper, what was it, last Sunday, Rod, was your column in the paper?
Thursday.
Thursday, whenever it was, he put a good article in the paper about economic development. There are remarkable things happening here in Rowan County. I've lived here going on 13 years now, and when we moved here, things were pretty dead. In fact, there was a pretty strong anti-development move here because it was absolutely a no-no as far as a certain member who was the chairperson of the county commission who attacked the whole idea of economic incentives and companies that came using those economic incentives. Crazy meeting I was at one time where that happened. Rather than go through a whole long spiel about Rod Crider and what he did before he got here, other than coming from Ohio, where my wife's from, but other than that, the things that we need to lift up, Rod is going to lift up the stuff that has happened here in the last 6 or 8 years. There are companies moving here, there are companies in process of moving here, there's a sense of cooperation between government entities and the Economic Development Commission. And so you didn't come here to hear me, you came here to hear Rod Crider. Please welcome Rod Crider to
Thank you, Jeff.
one thing I forgot.
Yes.
I forgot. And I have it written in red so I don't forget it. Welcome young Dems of Cabarrus and Rowan County. Stand up, everyone.
He wants me to talk here, but I'm going to be looking at all of you. So, thanks, Jeff. I like Jeff's spelling of his name because that's how we spelled my son's name. It was also Jeff with a G. So he doesn't appreciate it all that much as he went through. Like, why didn't you just give me the J? Nobody could spell it. So I came here from Ohio, but I'm from Michigan. I want to clarify that in case anybody wants to know. Spent a lot of time up there working in economic development, worked my way south. I always tell people I'm just first generation Yankee. All of my parents and all of my grandparents before me were born in Tennessee and Alabama, and they, like many people in the 20s and the last century, moved north for the jobs in the auto factories and the steel factories as farming kind of got more difficult to do in the South, and so that's how I ended up being in Michigan. But found my way back here as soon as I could, and actually I've also done my family's genealogy, and we came in 1736, and we actually came through Rowan County in the 1700s and stayed here for a little while. Actually, Rowan County at that time went all the way west of the border, right? So I could say Rowan County, but it was actually what is today Burke County. So, that's a nice little interesting factoid. So I have a long, I guess, history with Rowan County and enjoy what we're doing. But I want to talk about the Economic Development Council and what we're doing. Just kind of give you an update. I think the last time I was here had to be pre-COVID, three or 4 years ago, right after I came. So I appreciate the opportunity. There's been a lot that's happened since then. Our organization itself has reorganized. We were a commission of the county government. We have since moved to a public-private partnership model, and we have invited the private sector to join us in this economic growth effort. And we did a campaign 3 years ago to get them involved with what we were trying to do, and they enthusiastically embraced it, and now they are also supporting us financially and with their time as well. And that lessens the amount of reliance that we have on local governments for our funding, and it gives us another resource. It's very important that we have everybody at the table. Education, government, business, to all try to move our community forward. And that was a missing piece that we were able to fill in. So we were really happy about that. We had before that been funded by Rowan County, City of Salisbury, and the 10 other municipalities in Rowan County. It's on a kind of a per capita basis, except for Rowan County and Salisbury, which kind of pay way above what that per capita rate would be. And that was ingrained in history before I got here. I don't know how we got to those amounts or why, but we're thankful for their support and for their involvement. Al, when she was on council and mayor, was really involved with our economic development efforts. Pat Sledge comes to all of our meetings every month, and we appreciate having her involvement as well. So we started this campaign, we call it Forward Rowan, 3 years ago. It's a 5-year campaign. We just entered the 3rd year of that, and our goal of that campaign was to attract 2,500 new jobs to Rowan County and to stimulate $350 million in new capital investment in our county. And also our wage targets are just over $33,000, which is what has been deemed as the living wage for 2 people working with 2 children in Rowan County. We want to be as far above that as we can. Our average wage currently is about $44,000, but for a target, we don't want to bring ourselves down by attracting jobs that pay less than the current average. So we're going after those jobs that pay at least in that range. And we are getting results. So far, I think we've already surpassed the 2,500 job mark, which is one announcement that we had last month, the big one, Macy's. They also helped us surpass our capital investment goal. They're investing about $580 million into this new facility that's going to be at exit 68 off of I-85. And so that has helped us. We have to reevaluate what our goals are now because of that. So we approach this through 3 strategies. First is a targeted economic growth. Everybody hears about our efforts to attract new businesses and the code names. Macy's was Project Rabbit before it became public. You might have read about it in the paper. We do a lot of work with that because companies close, they move. We need to be able to fill those vacancies with other businesses and new job opportunities for residents. And our communities need to grow. They need the additional tax revenue to be able to continue to provide the valuable services that they give to residents as well. And so we're engaged with that, but our primary emphasis is on working with existing businesses. And what most people don't realize is that while the new businesses get all the headlines, probably at least 85% of our new business growth comes from existing businesses that are already here in the community. And we're working with them to connect them to resources, to help them maybe secure incentives if they're available in their situation, connect them to the right people, act as a project manager, because most of them don't have any experience in this area, and so we work as a project manager to stand alongside them as they go through the process and help them to be successful in their growth efforts, because we want to keep the businesses that we have here, and that's our #1 priority. And we've put some other programs in place to support that. We have the Rowan Manufacturing Network, which obviously is specifically targeted towards manufacturers. Those are the highest value jobs that you can bring to a community. They're what are called primary jobs. They're base jobs because the reason why they're so valuable is because they manufacture a product that is, for the most part, sold outside of the county. And when it's sold outside of the county, we're bringing outside dollars back to be redistributed here. So when Freightliner sells a truck to somebody in, let's say their home state, their corporate headquarters is in Oregon, then we bring those Oregon dollars back to Rowan County to be used by our Freightliner plant here to pay wages, to pay taxes, to pay for supplies and goods, which then gets recirculated in our local economy. That is not how retail works. Retail is taking those dollars that are coming into our community and redistributing them amongst different businesses. And so the manufacturing jobs are the highest value jobs that we can bring to a community. And so we focus on those. And we have 4 target industry areas that we're working on. We work on advanced manufacturing, particularly in the transportation equipment field, like Daimler, like Hexagon Agility. We have Tasian, which is out on 70, and several other transportation equipment manufacturers. We're starting to see a lot of interest now from Toyota suppliers. Toyota just announced that they're building a new facility in Randolph County. It's about 60 miles from here, and so there are a number of suppliers that want to locate close to them so that they can serve their needs as a supplier. And so we're seeing, interesting part about that is Toyota has told their suppliers, we don't want you locating within 45 miles of our facility because we don't want to compete with you for labor. And so us being 60 miles outside puts us in a real sweet spot to get those suppliers, and so we're focusing on that a lot right now. We're also working on value-added agricultural industry. So anything that when you take agricultural products and you manufacture them, refine them into other products, not necessarily just food, but textiles and rubber and all sorts of things you can do with those. We want to focus on that as well, primarily because of the assets that we have here. We have an agricultural heritage. We have a research station in the southern part of the county. We have the North Carolina Food Innovation Lab at the research campus in Kannapolis. So we want to be able to utilize those assets to stimulate growth in that industry for Rowan County. We've seen, despite COVID, we've seen a tremendous amount of activity. Our last 2 years have been the busiest years that we've ever experienced in Rowan County. Part of that is because, as Jeff mentioned, the additional demand. We're seeing some really positive developments in what's happening in Rowan County right now. But the number of leads that we got last year was about a little over 150. That's people or companies or consultants or somebody that contacted us and said, we have a potential project, we're interested in your community, and then they'll give us the parameters. They might say, I need a building that's between 100 and 200,000 square feet, and it has to be on a 4-lane highway, and I have to be at least 30 minutes from an airport, and I have to have X amount of electricity available to me because I use a lot of electricity. And so it's our job then to figure out which sites or what buildings fit that criteria. And not always do we have anything in our inventory that fits that criteria. So that's a missed opportunity for us. And that's one of the reasons why we also focus on what I call product development, making sure that we have the product in place to allow us more opportunities to place companies here. So we spent a lot of time working with developers to bring new buildings to market. I'll mention all of those in just a second. But of the total leads that we get in, probably, I'm going to guess about 70% of them would be ones that we would qualify for. So about 30% of them are in that category. Sorry, we'd love to have you, but we don't have anything that meets what you need. So hopefully you can find another place nearby to relocate your business. And the number of qualifying leads, let's see, last year we had 124, and the prior year we had 80. So we were up 50% last year just in terms of the qualifying leads that we had. And the year before that was a record year for us. So we're staying extremely busy right now. Like I said, our latest attraction initiative was Project Rabbit, which was Macy's. We also have been working with one called Project Whale, which is could be as high as $1 billion in new capital investment. Another one that's an existing industry expansion that's called Project Excelsior. We have Project Tailwind, which is one of those Toyota suppliers that I was talking about. They were the first one that we talked to, and since then we've probably talked to 3 or 4 more, and we're getting more every week. Our total pipeline right now, the potential that's in our pipeline, companies that we're working with, represents over 4,000 jobs and $2.5 billion worth of capital expenditures. And so I talked about the product development piece a little bit. Our site readiness initiative, we try to get sites. There's a certification program you can go through. It's offered by primarily the utility companies, both electricities and Duke offer a site certification program. What that does is allows us to get them to pay to get our sites ready, and it tells a potential business that if you come here, this site already has everything in place that you need. It's not just a cornfield that's been there for 100 years, but it has utilities. It has, it has the water and sewer going to it that you need. It has rail access, or it has highway access, all the things that a company might be looking for. And it's really gives us an advantage when we have certified sites in place. And Rowan County has had more sites in the Duke site certification program than any other county in North Carolina, because we aggressively pursue it every year. We're putting 2 or 3 potential sites in front of Duke, asking them to help us with certifying those. So I mentioned the developer interest. You know, when I came here, I've been here 5 years now. Next month, we were begging, almost begging people to please build a spec building in our community. At that time, I-85 was still under construction, and we were viewed as being too far removed from Charlotte. Part of that was the image that was created when you got into the traffic jam of that 2-lane before I-85 was finished. Part of it had to do with the reputation that we had, that Jeff mentioned, from some prior government officials. I won't call them government leaders, government officials. And fortunately, we've overcome that. And so now we have a much better image, a welcoming image to businesses, and one that's trying to be accommodating and flexible to meet their needs. And we can talk about that a little bit now. But so right now, we have almost an embarrassment of riches in terms of development that's going on in our county right now. Literally every exit on I-85 has a development underway or planned, except for Innis Street, and that's because there's no space available to do a development. It's already pretty well developed. So if you go down, starting with exit 63, the old Intimidator site, the Intimidators baseball stadium, Fort Lewis Capital Partners is planning 756,000 square feet there. Exit 65, which is the new exit that was opened 3 years ago at Old Beatty Ford Road, that's Kannapolis Crossing. That was going to be a really high-end mixed-use development, but because of COVID, the demand for commercial space and retail space has been curtailed significantly, so more of that has moved to industrial space. And they're talking about 4 million square feet there. Last word we got is they will be breaking ground next month. Kannapolis actually annexed that portion of our county and has already put the utilities in place there. Exit 70 Webb Road, if you've been by there, you can drive by there today and see a new 676,000 square foot building. It's huge. It's as big as the Chewy building, but it looks bigger because it's closer to the road. I mean, it's like right on top of you when you drive by there, and it's really, really the company that developed the Chewy building, and they're very, very, they like this market a lot, and they want to do more development here. So we're happy to have them here. They're out of St. Louis. They've been a great partner to work with. Exit 71, Peeler Road, we have a 700,000 square foot development going in there. That's going to be annexed into the city of Salisbury. Peach Orchard Road, exit 72. We have a potential of 1.3 million square feet there. Julian Road, we have, that's the Granite Quarry Industrial Park. It's about a mile off the expressway. It's that's where a couple of these Toyota suppliers are looking at. We have 100,000 or to 150,000 square foot spec building being planned there. Exit 79 is East Spencer. It's there's 80 acres right there. That's under development. And Long Ferry Road, And, you know, Chewy went there, and now Red Rock Development is planning 2.5 million square feet of additional space just past Chewy, across 6 buildings. We just talked with somebody a couple of weeks ago that's going to, they've got 36 acres on the west side of I-85 on Long Ferry. They'll be putting 2 buildings in there. And then we just had another meeting yesterday with another developer that's looking at developing some space that would be adjacent to the Innispec facility that's out there right now. So, oh, and then I can't forget exit 84, which really isn't Rowan County, but it's the first exit past the Rowan County line, just over the river. There's 5 million square feet of development going in there by the Samet Corporation. Nucor just announced that they're putting a new facility in Linwood. All of this affects Rowan County, and particularly Salisbury, because Salisbury is a bigger market for that. So they're going to be relying upon Salisbury for goods and services and labor. And so it is happening all around us. Total 15 million square feet of speculative space is coming into our market over the next 18 to 24 months. That represents about 21 separate buildings. Now, if they employ, let's say on average, the same number of people that Chewy employed or Macy's plans to employ for the square footage that they have, that means we're going to have a need for about 25,000 new employees in Rowan County. Where are they going to come from? We only have 2,500 people that are unemployed in Rowan County right now. Our unemployment rate is 3.6%. That represents about 2,600 people. So we have to bring them in from other areas. And one of the ways we're doing that is through a talent attraction campaign to talk about more people like me moving to Rowan County for all the things that we have to offer. The Charlotte region has 110 new residents moving here every day. That's 36 to 40,000 people a year are moving to the Charlotte metro region. If you saw our census figures for Rowan County a couple of months ago when they were released, we're growing at a rate of about 6%. So that means of those 110 people every day, we're only getting 7 of them. We can do better than that, and that's one of the ways that we're going to try to build our talent pipeline, is by attracting more of those residents to move and work in Rowan County. And a lot of it is just getting the word out about all the things that we have to offer here. And so we're launching a talent attraction website next week or the week after. You've all hopefully you've seen the YoRowan.com website, which was started about 5 years ago to help put out positive messages and talk about all the positive things happening in Rowan County. And that's going to help us too. And then we work with workforce development people all across the county, representing government agencies, representing HR people within companies, to try to make sure that we have the right talent available for the types of companies that will be coming here. We've had a Rowan Education Collaborative that we put together that we meet every 2 weeks. It's all the presidents of our 4 colleges, Catawba, Livingstone, Hood, and Rowan Cabarrus. We have representatives from the County Board of Commissioners and from the EDC there, and we talk about how we can make it easier for students to get trained for the jobs that are here, and how we can keep more of the students that are coming from outside of our area to attend school here to stay once they graduate. And that's been a really, I think, successful effort on our part. Here's one thing. I mean, did you know that if you went to Rowan Cabarrus Community College and got a 2-year degree, that you could not then transfer those credits to Catawba College? That you had to basically start all over again? That didn't make any sense, right? Well, they fixed that as a part of this Rowan Education Collaborative. So now if you got your 2-year degree at Rowan Cabarrus, you can transfer easily. And we're working with Livingstone right now to do the same thing, and that will happen. But gotta remove those barriers that are out there that are keeping people from continuing their education or staying in our area. So talent attraction and development is just a huge, it's the number one issue for employers right now. They can't find all the people that they need. You've all been to restaurants. It's drive-through only because they don't have the staff available, or they reduce their hours because they can't get the staff available. And that's happening not only in restaurants and hospitality industries, but across every industry, manufacturing included. And so we're really trying to do everything we can to help them there. And then our third strategy is brand identity and storytelling. That kind of goes back to the Your Rowan website. It goes out. We do a lot of marketing outside of Rowan County to talk to people, potential companies and consultants about why their business should be located. We want to help fill those 21 buildings that are coming online in the next 24 months or so. And speed to market has become so critical for companies now. You are really in you have a real advantage when you have an existing building in place, because a company gets a contract. The contract says that they have to have the product produced, shipped, and out the door in 18 months. The supplier that we talked to from Toyota was in a similar situation. We have to be up and running within 24 months. So where is your site that's already certified, already has everything in place, and where's a general contractor that we can use that can get this thing up for us? Because a lot of the delay right now in getting buildings up is you can't get the materials. You can't get the steel, you can't get the wood, you can't get any of the things that you need, and so there's a long waiting list to get these. And so the larger developers, the larger construction firms have, I guess, some ability to get their stuff delivered quicker because they've been long time and large customers. But it's been one of the things that has deterred economic development from happening. That we've been told that right now there's a shortage of 36 million square feet in the Charlotte region right now, today, that could be filled immediately. And I don't think it will be long when that North Point building on Webb Road will be the next one that comes to market. I don't think it will be long before that one. We're announcing a new tenant in that space too, because the demand is so strong out there right now. So we have to tell our story. We try to get on the national radar, getting word out on our attractiveness. We've been able to do that through national publications. We received our first national ranking as one of the top 10 counties in the country for food processing firms. Again, going back to what I talked about earlier, and all the different assets that we have for that industry currently, and that's something that we're trying to use to leverage as well. And we did some things during COVID about smaller being better, and because we saw a movement of companies and people from larger urban areas to less densely populated areas like ours. So we took advantage of that in our marketing as well, and just trying to continually stay in front of people with that. And our latest initiative in marketing is around the ag biosciences and the electric battery supply chain. Those we see as some real short-term opportunities for us, and we want to continue to work on those. And then our fourth goal is just, it's kind of an internal goal. It's strategy. It's just making sure that we have all the tools and the people in place within our organization to deliver all these services in the most highly professional way, and fast, and with flexibility, and making sure that we have databases available to us, so when a company asks us a question, we can get the answer to them, all those sorts of things. And so we've continued to work on that now. We've added one new member to our staff in the past year, so we now have 5 of us total, and we have a small but a mighty team, and we complement each other's strengths and skills very well, I think. And so I'm very proud of the team that we've put together there. And so So we've had all of these successes, particularly over the last 3 years, and now you will notice the conversation is going to start to change. It's going to start to change from how do you attract growth to how do you manage the growth that's coming. Because with all of that growth, 25,000 people, where are they going to live? Housing affordability, housing availability is a big issue right now, not only here, but everywhere. So how are we going to address that here in Rowan County? Transportation, you know, what's that going to look like? Are we going to have transportation in place that's going to allow for the efficient movement of people and goods? Are we going to plan for that? There are some communities that grew so fast they didn't plan for it. Does anybody want Salisbury or any part of Rowan County to look like the strip at Concord Mills? No, we don't, right? So we want to avoid that, and that's one of the things that can happen with growth that occurs too fast, is you can't stay on top of it. So, you know, we encourage our communities to plan, think ahead for this, see how we can avoid mistakes other communities have made, and still maintain the high quality of life here that we have. And then, you know, education, if we got, are we gonna have enough room for all the new people that are moving here in the schools? Do we need to invest more in new facilities? How's that? All of these things. So we've gone from, in 2 years, talking about how to attract growth to how to manage growth. The growth is coming. I could probably stop marketing tomorrow and the growth will still come. Of course, you can't do that because you gotta continue to get the word out and maintain a positive image for your community, because at one day it might not be as hot as it is right now. But these are some of the challenges that we're facing that comes with our success, and so we'll be dealing with more of those in the future. And so I'm going to stop there, and probably gonna have some questions. I'd be happy to respond to any of them that are out there.